It's kind of okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Business Associations and Entrepreneurs and Startup. Tonight we have a really special guest with us. He is the senior advisor of New York Marketing Association. He's known as the profit producer by his clients, and he has a goal of reducing startup failures and saving 1 million businesses by the year 2050. And so please help me welcome Jimmy Newson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited today to talk about local SEO, a search engine optimization for all our local businesses out there. Even if you're organic, you can still treat this as local. We're going to dive deep into what local organic versus true organic looks like, and then we're going to look at 18 tips that you should be doing in order to make that happen. So I'm just going to share my screen and go ahead and jump right in. And we're going to leave some time at the end for Q&A. Normally it takes me an hour and a half to do this presentation. I'm going to do this in an hour. Okay. I'm telling you that because I'm going to fly through a lot of the slides, but I understand that there is a replay, so you'll get a chance to watch this again. So you don't necessarily have to worry about taking too many notes. You can just kind of concentrate on what I'm talking about. And also, please throw your comments in the chat and we'll try to get to them either during the presentation or at the end when we do a little Q&A. Okay. So without further ado, I will start sharing my screen and we will get this party started. And by the way, for everybody here, we want to thank you for deciding to spend your time with us this evening. We know it's late. So you can see my screen, right, Louisa?
Yes, I have it on the big screen.
Beautiful. Okay, so we are here. If you're looking for local search engine optimization, you're in the right place. So this is everything you must know about local search engine optimization. Again, my name is Jimmy Newson. I'm the founder of Jimmy Newson Consulting and Moving Forward Small Business. And as Louisa said, the senior advisor of the New York Marketing Association. I have certifications with Google, SEMrush, HubSpot. I use all these tools religiously. SEMrush is kind of like my Swiss Army knife of digital marketing. We won't be talking about that too much, but this is one of the tools I use to really get a lot of the information I'm going to share with you today in regards to analytics, technology, research, all that lovely stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about local SEO versus organic SEO. And so we know the internet is full of information. The question is, what's the difference between local SEO and organic SEO? Local SEO is a geographical component, which organic SEO does not necessarily have. It's the practice of building signals of relevance around a specific location, meaning your business, whether it's in New York City, whether it's in Montana, whether it's in Miami, Florida. It can be, typically it's a brick and mortar type business, but online businesses can leverage some of these things that we're going to talk about as well, and they should. So organic SEO is the marketing practice that's revolved more or less around your website. So organic revolved more around the website. Local SEO revolved more around a specific location in addition to your website. Okay. So huge corporations have the ability to reach around the globe. And as a local business, we ask ourselves, how do we compete with that? And it's very difficult until Google introduced local signals that allow for, depending on how the search is going, it can determine, is this a local search or is this an organic search? And when it's a local search, so if I type in the word pizza, Google immediately assumes that this is probably a local search, and the person searching is probably looking to purchase a pizza. And that's where you start to show up in what we call the local pack, which we're going to take a quick look at in a little bit. If you type in certain types of shoes, it's going to serve up not only organic searches, it's also going to serve up local searches, which it puts above organic searches. Like I said, again, we're going to take a look at all that. And this is where a local business can literally outrank a national brand, a global brand, when they're optimized properly for local search. Okay. So local searches start with a number of things. One, the foundation of your local SEO strategy has to be Google My Business. So if you have not created one or claimed yours, because sometimes someone may create one for you, you just need to claim it. That's step one. Then we need to talk about keyword research, analyzing the right type of keywords. And keywords can or a huge component, but there is a lot there. Citations. Citations are extremely important to local SEO. It helps to increase the domain authority of your website and your business. What are citations? Citations are known as name, address, phone number, NAPs. The more of these citations you have and the more that they're aligned with your Google My Business listing, which is your home base, that lets Google know that this business is current, it's relevant, and you will outrank other competitors if you have these citations and they're all up to date. And then on page optimization, we're going to talk about how to make sure that your website is optimized, not only for the right keywords based on your products and services, but your location as well, because that will allow you to rank, and make one and sometimes two or three different cities, counties, towns, depending on how well optimized you are versus your competitors. Prime example is one of our dental practices I work with. We've got them optimized for, let me see, I think it's like cosmetic dentistry. They're in Hauppauge, but we also have them ranking in number one in a number of close locations, including like Smithtown and Medford, other cities, other towns, because it's well optimized. And if the competitors are not, we're able to get into the first place there as well. Okay. So let's talk about what local SEO really is. And you're going to see a few things here that represent local SEO. It's your competitors. It's the local optimization of your website. It's the local pack that I talked about. It's reviews. It's site speed. It's the SERPs. So SEO, I'm going to take a step back here, stands for search engine optimization, if you're not aware of what that is. And for business owners and webmasters, it means optimizing your website and web pages for the search engines. This ultimately means making sure that those pages are optimized as best as possible, so we can drive traffic to those pages. And sometimes they may not even get to your website if your Google My Business listing is optimized well enough. They might just directly call you, or if you're a brick and mortar business, they might go directly to your website. Not to your website, but to your physical location, depending on, of course, now because of COVID and whatnot, if you're accepting people to come into the building or not. Okay. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about, we're going to look at, and we're going to dive deep into. So now let's take a look at this. So this what you're looking at now represents a search. So we're going to use plumbing, for lack of a better word, to really help drum home what we're talking about in regards to local SEO. So when we type in plumbing, you'll see a few things here. So if there's any SEO people here or people who want to be in SEO, I have a number of plugins installed on my website. On my Google, my Chrome browser, which allows me to see a lot more data than the average person. So you'll notice that little K, pink K and the blue dot, that's keyword everywhere. If you install that on your Chrome browser, you're gonna get an opportunity to see a lot more data, because this data, and even if you're not in the industry, but you do want to know this information because you want to optimize your own website, install this plugin. It's a great plugin. And when you do a search, up at the top, you can see the monthly volume. And depending on how you have this set up, this could be globally, this could be nationally, or it could be locally. So I believe this may be local. It may be national, but you're looking at 300,000 searches a month for the keyword plumbing. And if you were to advertise on that, you're going to see the cost per click, which is that next section, is $26. Why is it so high? Because people don't Google plumbing because they want to learn plumbing. They Google plumbing because they have a problem and it needs to be fixed like yesterday. So there's a lot of things that go into how Google looks at the value of a keyword, and also how it sets pricing for that. And we can see the competition is 0.5, which is actually not bad. Okay, it's just a very expensive keyword. But if you look to the right, you're going to see related keywords and people also search for. And this is where you can start to look for other keywords, especially if you're doing any type of paid ads. And this is where it comes in, where you might want to find other variations of your own keywords that are cheaper to bid on. Okay. But let's go back to the whole page. If you notice that first block, there's a map at the top, and then there's three businesses under it, and it says Outstanding Plumbing and Heating, Wind Supply of Smithtown, and Roto-Rooter. That's a local pack. So these guys are showing up first because they're optimized, and then under that starts the organic search. And so the organic search is giving you more of listings. The 10 best plumbing in Smithtown, because I happen to be in Smithtown when I did this search. 25 best plumbers in Smithtown. Now, this is going to, if you happen to be one of the 25, you're going to get some exposure. But at the top of this, Google is already assuming that this is a local search and the person needs a plumber. And if you're not showing up here, you're not going to be in the running to get that phone call. So this lets you know, based on this local search, that am I optimized for this or not? Now you can click, it says more places, and it'll give you more listings. But this is what we mean when we talk about local SEO. And Roto-Rooter's there, which we know is a national brand, so we can try to rank ourselves better so we can show up in there. Well, in addition to Wind Supply of Smithtown and Outstanding Plumbing and Heating, which are both local based businesses. So this is how local works in regards to ranking above organic search, especially for your local area. Okay. So why do you need local SEO? So let's just look at a few things. One is local SEO by the numbers. 93% of searches for local businesses are displayed in the what we call the Google 3-pack, or we call it snack pack sometimes. And that's what you saw there, no matter what you're looking for. And then 71% of online users confirm the location of a business before visiting the actual store. I did it the other day. I needed to go to Target. I popped Target in. I'm looking for the closest one, I'm looking for food. I'm looking for something to eat. My daughter is one day she wants pizza, the next day she wants something else, and I just need to do a pizza shop or something. I don't really care who it is. I just need to find them. And at the end of the day, if you're not online and you're not optimized, you will lose business to your competitors. And then 46% of searches on Google are for local businesses. So we're always looking for something, and we just want to get the information right before we now hit the road or before we make the decision to make a purchase. Okay. Doing local SEO will enhance your local footprint as the first step in building your brand and your customer base. And don't get it twisted. You are building a brand. So if you can't be found, there is no brand loyalty. There is no branding to be built. You need to be looking at it from a standpoint of showing up. So you're first visible, which is your brand visibility. And then two, hopefully they will click and go through and learn more about you and then do some business with you. You can connect with your potential audiences by creating a message that is local in nature. So when you're optimizing your Google My Business and your other citations, you're able to make sure you can put in there what makes you unique, your unique selling proposition, maybe some amenities you have, like your wheelchair or handicap accessible. You can do online booking appointments, especially say you're a hair salon, a hair salon, or a dental practice, where you can actually take appointments through some of these platforms, including Google My Business. And then local searches lead to in-store visits and sales. And that's true, because I want to know before I get there, are you open? What are your hours of operation, especially during holidays? Are you open on Valentine's Day? Are you open on President's Day? I need to know these things. Okay. It will help you drive targeted leads that are customers, because they are searching specifically for something. It enhances your visibility, and you have a higher success rate of getting people to your business or your website. So it definitely helps to build your brand. And like I said, it's definitely very effective if you're taking it from a local SEO standpoint, especially if you're a brick and mortar or you want to treat yourself more like a local based business, even if you're 100% online. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the 18 best practices for local SEO. So these are 18 things that you should definitely be doing. I understand that you don't need to do them all immediately, but I'm going to tell you which ones you should start with. But at the end of the day, these are some things you need to put on your radar. Some of them you might be doing, or some of them you might need to do a little bit better, so you can start to make sure that you're showing up for those searches based on your products and services, what you have to offer and what you do. So before I go into that, Louise says, are there any questions before we dive deep into these 18 best practices?
Initially, in the beginning, you talked about the plugins that you use to
Yep.
like get data.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name a few of them that would be like useful or that like business owners can use?
Yeah. And one is called a keyword everywhere. So if you just type that in, and these are all. I use the Chrome. I use Chrome as my browser. I used to use Firefox. I switched over to Chrome. I absolutely love Chrome. So keyword everywhere is one of the tools. Another tool I use is called SEO Minion. Minion. And that one will let me know how well a specific page is optimized, whether it's the home page, a sales page. And this is how you can kind of like check in on your competitors, or even audit yourself and go, this page is not optimized. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit. One more tool, and then we'll dive deeper in, is called, and we're actually going to look at that in this, but I'll just give it to you real quick here, is another one called Wapalizer. And a Wapalizer, and it's spelled exactly how it sounds. It tells you what tech stack someone's using, and that means what website that they're using as to build out their website, what marketing platforms they're using in conjunction with that, what plugins they might have installed. So it really gives you an opportunity to see as much as you can about, and this is what I use to do audits for people, and then I can audit their competitors and go, look, your competitors are using this. I can see they have Google Analytics installed. I can see that they have Google Search Console. I can see that they're using a plugin for MailChimp. So they're definitely doing email marketing, things like that. So all these things, you can come to a conclusion of what needs to happen. Okay. So I'll go ahead and dive in now, and just keep the questions coming if they're coming through. So, and again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go through these kind of quick, but this is being recorded, so you can watch it again later, and you will have access to me if you need to ask me any direct questions. Okay. So, again, I'm just going to do high level overviews of each one of these, but understand that I can literally do an hour on each one of these tools alone. So let's start with best practice number one. Create a Google My Business listing or claim yours, because sometimes Google will create one on your behalf. And the problem with that is sometimes that information is not correct. And so you need to do a search. And how you do that, you just type your name into Google and see what pops up without the spaces and without the .com. With the spaces. So if you have if your business is John Smith's Pizza Shop, type it in with the spaces and let's see what populates. And if your business doesn't populate, you got a problem. And if someone else, or if it does populate and the information is wrong, you need to claim that Google My Business. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So first thing you would do is, if you need to create one in the first place, you're going to go to google.com/business. Okay. And that's where you're going to go to immediately determine, do a search, and you'll create it. And if it's already created and you didn't create it, then you can claim it. And so it'll allow you to do that. Okay. So this is what it looks like. So we did a search for dandelion chocolates, and to the right is what we call the knowledge panel. And that's where it'll give the name of the business, a little bit of information about it, the address, the phone number, the hours. Obviously, it's a restaurant, so you can now see the menu. They've integrated that. And this is what you need to be seeing. If you don't see a knowledge panel when you search yours, then you do not have a Google My Business set up. And if you do see one and the information is not complete or it's wrong, then it was set up on your behalf by Google or someone else. You just need to claim it and take it over and complete it. Okay, your reviews, you can see it has 133 reviews. And this allows you, let me go back there. This will allow people to be able to interact with your business and not even go to your website. If they just want to know how to get to your business, or they just want to know that you exist and they just want to call you, they can do that without even going to your website. And this will allow them to do that. Okay. So number one, claim that Google My Business listing. Okay. Best practice number two, now you need to create other business listings, and you use your Google My Business listing as the foundation for the information that you're going to do in those other listings. And some of those listings include Bing Places for Business, Yahoo Local, Merchant Circle, City Search, Foursquare, Angie's List, Manta, Yelp for Business. All right. So these are your top ones that you need to have your listing on. And again, these are signals to Google that says the more of these that they have, the more I trust this business. And the more I trust this business will outrank other businesses that don't have these. Now, if you notice, each one of these have a few numbers and letters. So let me explain what those are. Let's look at Bing Places for Business. It has DS43 and TS47. DS stands for domain score, and TS stands for trust score. All right. So your domain score for a small business can be anywhere from 0 to, depending on the type of business you have, as high as, say, 30 or 40. Now, local listings like these guys, these are listings. Their domain score tends to be higher. And your trust score has to be even higher than your domain score. If your trust score is lower than your domain score, you might have a bit of a problem and you need to fix it. But as you can see, Yahoo Locals, their domain score is 79, and this is all out of 100. Trust score is 83. So these here, having these trust scores, having your business listed on here and having their trust score and domain score being this high is a good thing for you. Because it just that lends to the SEO quality of your website, and it will raise your domain score and your trust score having these listings. So this is what we call backlinks. So we're creating our own backlinks to our website from great domains, from other great domains. And I'm going to show you at the bottom. I just clicked and I added the only websites that get close to 100 are social media sites. They're the only ones that will ever hit the 90 to 100. And that's because they have so much traffic. They have so much content being produced on a regular basis. They're all about user-generated content. And that helps them build authority as well, because people are constantly on there. They're constantly going back there. And so this is where eventually you producing content on a regular basis also is a huge signal for not only local SEO, but for organic SEO. So you constantly need to be producing new content, whether that's in the form of blogs, articles, anything that has the ability to rank on your website and build more juice and authority for your website. So best practice number 2, get these additional listings for your business if it makes sense. And for most businesses, these particular ones make sense for 90%, if not 99% of all small businesses that are out there. Okay. So let's move on to best practice number 3. We're going to talk about keyword research. Now, this one is a tough one. Okay. So once a business appears across all online directories, they will already increase their page ranking for certain keywords, because Google will already start to analyze your website based on the content that's already there. Keywords play a huge part of local SEO. So we can look at keywords in the form of broad matches, phrase matches, and exact matches. Okay, so broad matches are, if your keyword is plumber, commercial plumbing, broad match would be some other form of commercial plumbing. So you might be commercial plumbing in New York. And so that could be a certain level of a broad match. A phrase match is, instead of saying commercial plumbing, you can say plumbing that is commercial, or plumbing commercial. We just flipped it. So it's phrase match. They just have the words in there just in a different order. And then exact match is if you really want to rank for commercial plumbing in New York, you need to say somewhere on that page, commercial plumbing in New York, New York, New York, New York City, Bronx, New York, commercial plumbing in the Bronx or in Queens, in Brooklyn. This is where you're starting to add, locations to your keywords, because those keywords are now going to help you rank better in those locations versus someone searching for a plumber in Chicago or a plumber in Miami. You're not going to show up in local search. You want to show up in that local search when if your business is in Brooklyn or your business is in Queens or Long Island or what have you. So you're going to add those keywords. Okay. So, and you can use a free tool called Google Keyword Planner, and it will allow you to start you start with a root keyword. And when I say root keyword, the root keyword of commercial plumbing is plumbing, or residential plumbing is plumbing. Plumbing is the keyword, is the root keyword. From that, we're going to build longer tail keywords where we might add residential plumbing, and then that's a longer tail keyword. Or we say residential plumbing Smithtown. Now that's an even longer keyword. Residential plumbing emergency Smithtown. You're adding things to it based on search. You're using the Google Keyword Planner, which you can set up by going to ads.google.com, because you have to have an ads account. You don't need to use the ads account, but if you set it up, you now have access to this Google Keyword Planner. And now you can do some real keyword research and find some great keywords to optimize your pages on your website. So every single page on your website has to be optimized for something. So your about page needs to be optimized specifically for about your business. Your services pages, I always say, don't put all your services on a single page, because you're not telling Google what that page is about. You need to break out all your services and place them on their own pages under services category, so each page can rank for that specific service. And that's how you get the most out of SEO, and that's how you can get the most out of local SEO. So as a plumber, maybe you're probably offering 3 or 4 different services. As a restaurant, as an attorney, as a dentist. As a dentist, you might do root canals, you might do cosmetic surgery, you might do crowns. All those are individual services, and you need to have a page for each one of those so you can optimize it for each one of those pages and create independent, individual doorways into your business. Okay. So creating those keywords. So let's look at ways that we could create those keywords. So here are some standard keywords: plumber, dentist, chiropractor, caterer. Now we want to localize those keywords. I would do New York plumber in New York, dentist near me, chiropractor near Smithtown. Okay. So now we're adding these keywords onto the page. We might even use that exact phrase on there. Now we're localizing it. So when Google picks up that page and you've optimized your website, it'll understand that you are near Smithtown. And this could be as simple as making sure that your physical address is in the footer of your website. Go to check how many websites actually have their address in the footer, and a lot of them will not. And if you add your address in the footer, for as a local business, well, you can take advantage of that as a signal that you are a local business. And so some longer tail keywords. Let's use catering, local caterer for children's birthday parties, local dentist that takes Medicaid. These are all about expanding that keyword. So they married dentist with Medicaid. They married caterer with children's birthday parties. So you're optimizing it to be as specific as possible based on the type of things that you offer, which will allow you to rank better for certain keyword searches. Louisa, did you have a question?
I did. So about keywords, if I'm trying to get ideas about what type of keywords I should go for, if I decide to look at, like, for example, my competitors, see what they're ranking for. if I use some of the same keywords, would it be beneficial to my business or would it actually decrease my traffic?
No, not at all. The key here is the keywords have to rank match what you do. The question is, and I'll ask the person who asked the question, what is your business? And that, if you're in plumbing, then you have to use keywords around plumbing. You have to use keywords around certain services. The question is, when people search for those keywords, who's coming up? If you're not coming up, you're not optimized for those keywords. You need to try to optimize yourself so you can kick the competitors out of that spot. Now, here's what you have to realize when you're doing, say you're analyzing a competitor. If none of you are doing any real local SEO, then Google's going to rank you by default, and so somebody's going to win whether they're trying to win or not. We want to be purposeful and go. We are purposely trying to rank for these keywords. And if we do it right, and there are things that we need to do that we're going to go through with these best practices, we could eventually outrank our competitors if they're not doing it. Now, you're not ranking it just for one or two keywords. You're looking for multiple variations of multiple variations, and something will rank and something won't rank. And depending on how much authority you've built up for your website over the period of time you're doing your SEO, you will start to rank better. If you've got 99 citations, meaning you got your website listed on 99 different websites, you've optimized a lot of your pages with the correct keywords, you will start ranking, and if a lot of your competitors are not doing it, you will kick their butt. but you need to understand that, there's only so much space. And so the key is you still have to optimize based on what you offer.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And then we have to do all the other SEO practices as well to rank for.
Exactly. Okay. Yep. Okay. So we'll keep moving. So this is the Google Keyword Planner. And I typed in, as you can see, I know it's probably a little small, but you got plumber up top, but then it gives you ideas. Plumber near me, water heater repair, toilet repair, plumbing services, emergency plumber. So you can see the searches go down. But what you have to realize is the intent rises. When someone searches for plumber, we're not really sure what they're looking for. But if somebody says plumber near me, we know exactly what they're looking for. If somebody types in water heater repair and I do water heater repair, that I know what they're looking for. They're looking for toilet repair. So the search goes down because the intent is the keyword is longer, but the intent is more powerful. And that's where you want to look at these ideas and go, I do drain cleaner services. There's 33,000 searches a month on that. And it's very specific to drain cleaning. So I need to write a page or optimize the service page that I'm driving traffic to for that keyword so I can rank for that. Local plumber, water heater installation, plumbing company. So there's so many different ways that you can look at keyword research based on the fact that you need a starting point. And the starting point is usually always your industry or your niche or your products or your services. From there, you can come up with ideas. And this is not about blogging. Blogging is organic. And that's a whole nother conversation. We're just doing straight up local. People are searching for a service and they need to solve it. Prime example, I'm at my office. No one's here because, unfortunately, of what's going on. But I remember a while ago, we had a problem with the electrical outlet. And so, a lot of the guys here don't even know what I do. So they're in their own world. And so all of a sudden, they ended up calling the guy and, electrician came out, he fixed it. So I called the guy and I go, hey, what happened? He goes, yeah, there was something wrong with the electric box. I go, what'd you do? He goes, oh, I just pulled out my phone, typed in electrician, and I called the first guy and he didn't pick up. I called the second guy and he picked up and I said, come over. He came over, he got the job. That simple. Because that particular type of service, they're not trying to price to a degree. They're not trying to price shop. They're like, I need this. I can't work because we have no electricity. Now that may not be the same thing for cookies or cupcakes, but get the point that if you're not in those top three, the top three get the majority of the clicks. And for the local pack, people are not going to click on this more. they're gonna try to call all three. Now, if all three don't pick up, then number four might win some business. So this is why it's so important to understand that you need to optimize for local search, because that's such low hanging fruit that you could be missing out of. Okay, so number 5 is analyzing the keywords. Now, if you want to go a step further, Google has another tool called Google Trends, and you can literally pop in your keyword and it'll compare keywords in regards to the amount of searches in the past 12 months. So you can kind of see now what's trending all about. Trending is about, depending on the area, if you're in New York, it's cold, and some things could be in season and out of season, compared to being in Miami where it's warm 365 days a year. And there might be a different trend there. So you can see the trends. Plumber is very high on the list. Plumbing repair is very low on the list. And septic tank is in the middle. Now, you might go, oh, I want plumber because it's all the way up there. But plumber doesn't tell you the intent. Plumbing repair all the way at the bottom lets me know that somebody needs a repairman. I want to rank for that, even if it's low, especially if I can show up on page 1 or in the local pack, because there's a good opportunity I can win some business. So that's more important to me than plumber because it's too broad. And septic tank is another one. I'm not searching septic tank because I got nothing better to do with my life. I'm searching septic tank because I probably have an issue, and maybe it's a long-term thing where I'm thinking about either replacing it, or maybe it's a situation where it just blew up and I need to fix it right now because there's some stuff in my front yard and it's driving away all my visitors. So there you go. So you might want to look at trends if you think that's necessary. Here is a tool that I use. So this is the SEMrush tool I mentioned, and I can pop in keywords and I can see, and I just used this one. I use loans. So if I'm in the banking industry, auto loan calculator, car loan calculator, loan calculator. So it's giving me variations of the word of different keywords I can use for the word loan, so I can come up with some ideas of how do I position my pages based on what people are searching, so I can be found for what I want to be found for. Quicken loans, student loans, bad credit loans, payday loans, personal loans, or any of these services that you as a business offers when it comes to loans. Okay, so this is how you're starting to look at some keywords by using certain tools, and you can use those plugins I've also shown you as well. So now let's switch, and we've been talking a lot about what we call off-page SEO. This is creating SEO signals using other sites. Now we're going to talk about your actual website. And the first thing I want to talk about is creating great title tags. Okay, so what are title tags? Title tags are those tags that are at the top of your page, and they also show up in search, and they help you understand what this page is about. So a title tag is an HTML element. I'm sorry to get mad geeky on you. My apologies. That specifies the title of the web page. Title tags are displayed on the search engine result page as clickable headlines. Now, the key here is to make the title to make the title tag appealing enough to want to click on. Okay, so we'll look at movers. Lejover movers, Sullivan moving and storage. Let's look at the next one. Lejover movers, find a licensed mover in Jola. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And actually, Loyola is a city, so they're looking for a mover in there. Loyola movers, San Diego. So one of these are going to make me want to click. So the key is you can optimize that title to say whatever you want it to say. It could be Lejover movers, Sullivan and moving storage, rated number 1. Because now that might make me want to click on that one over any of these other ones, because you put in rated number 1, and don't put it in there if it's not true, but these are things that you can do to optimize. So you're optimizing for click-throughs now that you're showing up. Okay, so you have control over these title tags. Okay, here's what makes a great title tag. You want it to be 55 characters or less. So that way it doesn't get cut off. Because if you make it too long, Google will cut it off with those 3 little dots. Okay, make the business name clearly visible. Now that depends on the page. Sometimes I don't, and this you have to use this with a grain of salt. I'll use the title. I'll use the name of the business sometimes if it's not too long, and I can still get it in there, and also make sure that I dictate what that page actually is. Include at least one primary keyword that has high volume and is highly relevant to the business. And so plumbing again, or specialty restaurant, whatever type of restaurant, pizza restaurant, Mexican restaurant. Use keywords close to the beginning of the title tag. So you want to try to put those keywords that you want, meaning the service type keywords at the beginning of the title tag, if it's possible. And each title tag has to be unique to every single page. You cannot have multiple title tags on your website. And that's when you do an audit and you see that 19 of your pages have the same title tag. 19 of your pages should have 19 different titles based on what that single page is all about. So you need to optimize it for each page for the correct title tag. And when focusing on local SEO, you can add the geographical location also in the title tag if you can make sure that that fits into that 55 characters. Now, can you break that 55 character mark? Yes, you can. There's no hard reason that you can't, but if you can keep it under 55, that's always idea. But understand that you have a lot of pages to play with, so you can break the rules every now and then. Doesn't have to always be that way. So next, we're going to look at great meta descriptions. Now, meta descriptions are what's under the title tag. So this is where you convince people that your listing is the one out of all the ones they're seeing is the one to click on. Now, meta descriptions, people ask, is meta description a signal for SEO? And it's not necessarily. To me, meta descriptions are better for click-through, meaning the meta description is what's going to make me go, yes, that's what I'm looking for. I am going to click on this. So it helped with the click-through. That's what that means. So let's read a couple of them. Winter Lodge presents tennis lessons on our beautiful refurbished courts. We are excited to welcome our new, and now you see a lot of dots, and so it cuts it off because it's not optimized to be read. It's pulling it from the website. You want to be able to control what is there. So you can optimize this to be something to the fact of Winter Lodge presents tennis lessons at our beautiful refurbished courts. I would drop the line, we're excited to welcome. I would go right with, lessons available daily, special rates for new members. Click read more. That's it. Now they got everything they need because I optimized it for them to go, I think I'm going to click here because I see that there's special rates for newcomers. Okay. The other ones are all getting cut off. So you have to go in there. You need to optimize it. So let's read what makes a great description. They should contain important keywords relevant to the business. Each meta description should be unique. So every page has to have its own unique meta description. Each page within the website should be optimized for a different keyword. Users will also see the meta description. So it's engaging and enticing them to click. And that's why I said read more or claim discount or get started, anything that lets them know, hey, let's go ahead and take that next step. And even add local, add some local things in there like New York or Chicago or Alabama, wherever you might be. Okay. Best practice number 8, optimize your images. Do not download your images from all these great websites that offer stock images or you take it on your phone and just add it to your website. You need to optimize it. You need to shrink that image because if the image is too big, it's going to cause the web page that you put the image on to load slowly. So you need to optimize the image so it doesn't slow down the loading of your website, because Google will penalize you if your site doesn't load fast enough. Why would they penalize you? Because if your site doesn't load fast enough, people may go ahead and click off of your site before it finished loading. That's what we call bounce rate. And that's when you have a high bounce rate. So if you're seeing high bounce rates in your Google Analytics, you need to look at why people are bouncing from that site. It could either be because the content that they're going to is not relevant to the search, or the page is not loading fast enough. And which at this point, and depending on what website you're using, what website you're using to build your website, whether it's WordPress or Optimize or Shopify or BigCommerce or Wix. There might be plugins that will allow you to optimize all images on your website so they load faster. So it optimizes them, shrinks them, still keeps the quality of the image, but makes them smaller so it doesn't slow down your website. Okay, so how to optimize the images? You can resize them. You got to insert an alt text in each image. Every single image has to have what we call an alt text. And that's for a number of reasons. So what's an alt text? An alt text just describes the image. And this could be used for when people are, if someone's coming to your website that's handicapped and they're using a reader, or when you add an alt text, the images can also now show up in image searches. And those images will be linked back to your website. You need to name all the images before you upload them. Use the keywords in that particular image. You need to give it a file name that's unique from other images that you're uploading. And you can also add geographical location to the images. So the images have a lot of power when it comes to SEO in general and local SEO. Louisa, questions, or can I keep going?
I did have a question, but I just forgot it for a moment.
Okay.
I will get back to you. You can continue.
Right. I'm going to go a little faster because I see we're at 7:46. I want to honor everybody's time. So optimize anchor text. These are the texts that you want to link, that you want people to link back to you on. And sometimes you don't have a lot of you don't have a lot of authority or a lot of say over what people are linking back to you. Maybe they'll link back to you as plumber. Sometimes they might link back to you as the name of your business, especially if you're doing citations. So that's number 9 is optimized anchor texts, how people are linking to you, and also how you might link to other services on your own website. So if you mention contact us, then you want to link to your contact page. Or if you're on a page and you're talking about specific plumbing services on, say, a blog post on your website, link that to your service page that talks about plumbing. So this is how you're doing optimized anchor texts. I'm going to go a little bit faster. The 4 different types of anchor text are branded keywords. That's your brand name. Exact match keywords. Those are keywords around your actual services or products. Partial match keywords. That's where you might be mixing words up. And generic keywords. Generic keywords are like click here, read more, things like that are not specific to what you're doing, but you're allowing them to move further into your website. Okay. Number 10, go mobile. Make sure your website is mobile friendly, and Google is doing a mobile first indexing. So please test your website across across mobile platforms, including like the Apple phone, Android, any other platform, digital tablets. Make sure that your site comes out well on all these platforms, because you could be penalized for that, and it could definitely hurt your search engine results, meaning the first page. Okay. So check with your webmaster, test it on different browsers, test it on your mobile devices. So pull out all those devices that you have and pull up your website and see what the experience is, because you'd be surprised. 80% of your traffic could be coming from mobile. It all depends on what type of business you have and how people access your website. Okay. Number 11, this is still more on-site stuff. H1 headers and H2 headers. Okay. This is how you break up the content so you don't have a huge blocks of text on your website. Nobody wants to read huge blocks of text. People like to scan things. So you need to break that text up into headers and subheaders, almost like an outline. So it gives the search engine a better opportunity to read it, so you can optimize them for H1s and H2s. Be sure to tag the headings, include keywords, and it helps with readability of the website. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is the back end of WordPress. Go back there. And, this top one here, manual of, I can't even pronounce that word, Egyptian. Archaeology. There we go. It's spelled a little differently. That's a title tag. Okay. Then you got a subtitle. So we can set these. And then we got some information under that. And then we got an H1 heading, architecture, civil and military. And then we have normal text. And then we have another H1 tag, which I would actually make these H2 tags. So you're breaking up that article so it reads easier. And Google likes that because it makes usability for the end user easier for them. So they look at usability of the web pages as also another signal for how well this website is optimized. And then you can see to the right of that, to the left of that, it's got normal, H1, H2, H3. So you can choose these and optimize that blog post or that service page to break up a little bit easier so it can be read with more clarity. Okay. Best practice number 12, optimize the URL structure. Okay. So this is all about making sure that the URL has your keywords in it and you can optimize. So let's take the website aaaplumbers.com. So, instead of it having aaaplumbers.com/123-ZX/12, you want to optimize it so it has those keywords in there. Plumbing services /New York, plumbing services -New York. So, that helps in regards to, yes, this page is about plumbing services in New York. So check those URL structures and make sure that they're optimized and they're not just a bunch of letters and numbers that mean nothing. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to move a little bit faster here. Best practice number 13, use schema markup. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into this because this is pretty intense, but I'll show you what schema markup does. Schema markup makes it very clear to Google where you're at and what you do. And what that looks like is this here. That red square under this company, if you have schema markup added to your website, it'll pull the most important pages on your website and create this nice little grid that people can look at in addition to your basic information about your website. This is a digital agency. So it pulled their "We're Always Hiring" page. It pulled their about page. It pulled their contact page. It pulled that they're in New York. It pulled information about their people and also pulled information about the satisfied customers. You can pull all kinds of things in your schema markup depending on the type of business. You can pull your reviews. If you do events, you can pull your events page. You have coupons and offers published on your page. You can pull those. You can pull videos. You can pull your products. So there's so much stuff that you can pull. And this is where schema comes in to really help you mark up your website in a way that it can pull this data on your behalf automatically. Okay, let's keep going. Best practice 14. Now we're going to talk about creating more citations. Now, remember, we looked at Bing, we looked at Merchant Circle, we looked at all these other ones. After those, you can continue to create even more citations, which stands for name, address, phone number, because search engines love citations, and there is no limit to the amount of citations that you can have. Okay, so let's look at some places where you can get more citations. You can get them from third-party websites, such as online directories. So say if you're a plumber and there are plumbing websites that list plumbers, list yourself. Local blogs, if you happen to be an architect, or if you happen to be, any industry, all industries have some industry-focused directories. You need to find those directories, and you need to put yourself on them. You can look at the citations of your competitors. If you can pull a citation from the citation report from your competitors, you can see where they're listed, and if they're listed there, you need to be listed there. And then, of course, social media platforms. Make sure that you have your social media platforms, because those social media platforms serve as citations as well. Number 15, positive online reviews. You need to get reviews, and typically I like to get my customers to get their reviews either directly on Google, which means that they've got the Google My Business set up, or Facebook. I prefer Google because it's locked in with True Search, but sometimes you could pull in your Facebook referrals, reviews as well, but try to get people to give you reviews on Google. And there are rules around how you solicit for reviews, so just read up on that and make sure you can't reward people for giving you great reviews, because Google will say that's not a real review. So, but you can't ask for a review after a specific service. Say, someone, you do a service for someone, you can go, hey, would you mind going to Google and giving us a review? There are platforms that you can utilize that will allow you to collect that review easily, depending on your industry, real estate, so you got TripAdvisor, Super Pages, Better Business Bureau, Google, Facebook, Trustpilot, Booking.com, Zillow. So you just figure out where you want those reviews. So then those reviews can start to add up. And of course, reviews are very good for people looking to make a purchasing decision. So make sure you are soliciting reviews properly for your business. Okay. So I'm going to keep going here. Number 16, make sure you set up those social media profiles. Again, the top 4, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I did not include Snapchat or TikTok at the moment, but these top 4, for the typical business community, these are usually one of the top 4 that we're typically focused on for our clients. And I would say probably the same for you. Okay. So, you can get reviews on those. They build additional citations. You can monitor for brand mentions. They're great for customer service. I can't tell you how many times I end up reaching out to companies on Twitter because I can't reach them through traditional channels. And you best believe they get back to me when I ask them a question on Twitter, especially if I do it publicly. Okay. Lead generation and news amplifiers. So these are a lot of things that you can do with social media. So make sure you're on at least one of those platforms. Okay. So let's look at number 17, track. Make sure you are tracking your analytics because you need to know what's working. And the beautiful thing about digital marketing, local SEO, organic SEO, what have you, is it's all trackable. There's this thing that says 50% of my marketing is working. I just don't know what 50% it is. Well, that's not true in digital marketing. In digital marketing, you can track pretty much almost everything. And that's the beauty of having those analytics where you can see, how much traffic was organic search, how much traffic was social, how much traffic was direct. That means they typed into the actual domain and went to the website. How much traffic was referral. Referral traffic is traffic from other websites that link to you. And then the 5th form of traffic is paid traffic. That's the only one that's not on this chart. But you can see a lot of information here, especially if you make sure you have your Google Analytics installed and you have Google Search Console set up. So in addition to all this other stuff I told you, besides claiming your Google My Business, the other 2 things you must immediately set up off the bat is Google Analytics and a Google Search Console. Okay. That's how you're going to be able to track all this stuff and kind of start seeing what works and what doesn't work. And last but not least, you need to audit your competitors. You need to see what they're doing so you know where you stand. You know where you need to go. If you're leading the pack, find new competitors. Find somebody else that's doing it better than you. So now you have a new benchmark for where you need to go next. Okay. So these are the things you want to think about. So understand that you need to start to audit your competitors. I'll share some more tools. We're going to share this slide deck as well. So I'll be giving this slide deck to you guys, as well as you'll be able to watch this recording again. So in conclusion, you need to start leveraging local SEO. Even if your business is not local, there is a lot here that you could, and you should be doing to help you show up because you're still based somewhere. So wouldn't it be great to be able to catch a lot of people in your own backyard? That's a local SEO strategy. So that's it for me. I do have a quick offer I'll let you guys know about. If you're interested, we can pop this link in the chat. We will do a marketing audit for you if you're interested, and create a roadmap to give you an idea of what you might need to do. We just need a few things like some of your competitors that you think you have. So if you want us to do an audit for you and look at this, it's a $397 value, but if you do that for the month of February, it's $97. I'll put this link in the chat in a second. But these things you get, we'll do a website audit for you. We'll do a competitive analysis with up to 3 competitors. We'll give you some keyword rankings of your top 5 keywords. We'll give you some topic research ideas, anywhere from 200 to 1,000 based on your industry. We'll do a local citation report on your behalf. We'll do an SEO roadmap for the next steps of what you might need to do. And we'll also do a 30-minute consultation with me after you get this report, so I can actually tell you what all this craziness means. Okay. So let me go to my last slide here, and then we're going to do some Q&A for a few minutes. And again, my name is Jimmy Newson. You can find me on social media. You can Google my name, because since I'm an SEO guy, I own the top 5 pages that have my name in it. So that's the easiest way to find me and connect with me as well. So I am going to stop sharing this here, and we'll do a couple minutes of Q&A. So stop sharing, and I'll put in here in the comments, how do I add that link, Louisa?
You added me.
I'm looking
I
for
thought
that.
you were waving, so
No, I was waiting for you to add.
All right.
By the way,
so
I enjoyed the presentation a lot. I was actually listening,
Okay.
and I was like, I needed this service. Some of the stuff that you were talking about,
Yeah.
really interesting, because like I never knew that I should be promoting one service on each page.
Yeah.
I just like I adopted a web page where it's like I put everything on one page and then it scrolls down. But you're saying it should be each page, because they should be battling their own wars in a way.
Because think about it. Google has to determine what a page is about, and you can only have one H1 tag that tells Google what the page is about. So if you got 6 services, you can't tell Google it's about all 6 of these. You have to pick one, or Google will pick it for you.
Right. Yeah. And then because of that, you're not gonna get anything you want. Like, it's gonna be mixed match.
Exactly.
To work correctly. So I personally need this audit. So I was thinking, like, up to the end, I was like, oh man, I wish there was a service that provided this. And then at the end, you were like, oh, we will audit this for you. And and I was like, wow, it's totally worth it. I don't know myself.
Oh yeah.
Great.
I'm looking to put this in the chat, the link, so people can get it. I just don't know where.
If you can give it to us, or just tell us, well,
I put it in the private chat, so I'm not sure who it went to.
Okay.
All right. And then, of course, I'll send out the slide deck. But let's open it up for a few questions. But I'm glad you said that, Nick, because that's one of the first things I usually see as a big problem when I audit a site. I'm like, yep, break all those services up. You now have 6 different new doorways that you did not have before for potential business.
Right. Yeah, like I didn't even know like some of the stuff you were sharing. I have a little background in this. It's just that you really share a lot of content on local SEO.
Yeah.
And I realized that it actually can benefit me in what I do too.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, that's why I thought about it. But yeah, let's do some Q&A. So I'm gonna start from the top. I actually answered some of these questions that I know the answers to, but I wanted to see your perspective.
Yep.
Well,
mm-hmm.
So what if you don't have, like, you have a local business, but you don't have a local address? What are your thoughts on a PO box versus a co-working space address?
Well, again, at the end of the day, you want to have some level of Google My Business. Now, we have clients who don't want to show their address, so we can click on their don't show address. Now, and then we'll just draw a radius around the area that we service. So basically, we'll say clients don't come to us; we actually deliver services to them. So that's how you would look at doing that, and so it'll allow you. So I can draw. Let's just use New York City alone. I can draw a link just around Manhattan, a circle, and go, this is my area. Or I can draw it all around the lower New York City area, which could include Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, or Long Island. So so you don't have to show your address, especially if you operate, say, out of your home-based business, and you don't want people coming to your house. So there are ways around that. But you do want to still claim that Google My Business and optimize it so it does do that exact thing for you.
Got it. So you want to put your business address in the Google Optimize Your Business platform, but you don't want to. You can tell it to not show it.
Yeah.
That way. And then if you can show it, is it better?
Yeah, it is, because at that point, if you are a brick and mortar business, people can click on it and get immediate directions without having to go to your website or anything like that. You want to make it easy. Think about the last time you were in your car and you're going, I need to find the closest pizza shop to pick up a pizza. If they didn't have the address, you wouldn't be able to. You see the pizza place, but I don't know how to get there. I just want to click on that button, and now it does the directions, and now I just pop it on the thing and I go there. So if you do entertain people, you should have your address showing, and so it could be clickable, because that is that's when people click on that, that's interactivity, and Google likes that.
Right. Okay, let's do the next question.
Yep.
I have a question, but you can go ahead.
Go ahead, Louisa. No, go ahead.
Okay. So regarding the consistency of posting your address, for example, if you have like a few business locations, for example, my address is 16 Rebecca Court. Can I write in one listing CT and then another listing as the whole word CORURT?
Great question. It does. You have to pick one way, and that's why if you opt, you need to say either one or the other. And the more precise you are across all your citations, with the same way you list the city and state, the same way you list the phone number, with or without those parentheses or whatever you call those things. I forget what they're called. That matters. And so and that's why I always say, do your Google My Business listing first, and then however you set that up, that's how you're going to do every single other Bing. And people go, who goes to Bing? People still go to Bing. It's a very small group of people, but it's still Bing. Yelp, all these other places need to be mirror images of Google My Business.
Got it. Thank you.
Louisa, actually, you can post the questions up.
Okay, post the questions.
The bottom one, yeah, with Connie.
So Connie asked, do you recommend a certain platform for a website? I have a domain and still debating on what website to use. I'm leaning more towards Shopify for my products.
Yeah. I personally love WordPress, because it gives me the most flexibility for SEO, period. But I do have clients on Shopify. I have clients on BigCommerce. I have one client on Wix. But but I'm limited sometimes to certain things I can do, because their website's in a box, and so you're subject to the way that they will allow you to do things. And I need flexibility as much as possible. So I prefer WordPress. But if you're going to be managing the website, Shopify is a great website, so I can't hate on them. It's just a matter of making sure still you do your local SEO based on what are best practices for a Shopify based website. And Manchi, I see, thank you. You're welcome. I see someone said thank you for the presentation. Yay, they liked it. Okay, go ahead.
There's a few comments.
Yeah. Caroline asked, for image optimization, does it make a difference to link to a URL or to use my own tagged and name images while paying attention to image size, of course?
Let me see. For image information. Well, at the end of the day, if you upload your link, if you upload your image to your when you upload your image, say, let's use WordPress, for example. We have a media library, and we drop our images in there before we add them to our website. It automatically creates a URL link. That link will link back to your site. What happens is, if I place that image on a particular page, sometimes Google will link it to that page, instead. So it's always going to have the URL that it's linked to based on, if you want it to show up. The key is the alt tag, in addition to the URL, becomes whatever you set the alt tag. What I typically do is I'll set the alt tag to the keyword that I'm actually optimizing the page for, and then I'll do a dash, and usually I'll use the company name. So MB Stone Care. That way it kind of pops up, and so I'm kind of branding the image. So in search, and then when they click on it, it will always link back to the page that it found the image on, because I optimized the image for search, in addition to optimizing it to work better on the website. So those are two different things: optimizing it for search, optimizing it to load better on the website, because I made sure the size is not too big and doesn't slow down the speed load of that web page.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And Zakia, sorry, if I butcher your name. I need everything from scratch. What do you have for that?
Oh, well, I got all kinds of stuff. That's an offline conversation. If you want to send me an email at jimmy@jimmynewson.com, you can do that, and we can have a conversation. Anybody can send me an email there. Again, you can also click on that link if you want me to do an audit for you. But if you're just not sure and you just want to have a conversation, send me an email at jimmy@jimmynewson.com, and we can take it from there.
Okay.
All right.
And then we can send out the slides afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say there was a person up above that was asking, "Is there a way we get copies?" So I'm glad you said that. Okay, there's another question. Then we'll wrap it up.
Yep.
Lisa,
all right.
last.
Which one are you talking about?
I see it down here at the bottom. Is SEO something that is done by a company like yours one time, or is it an ongoing service that needs to be paid for monthly? Manchi, yes and yes. It is a service that is done by a company like mine or any other company. But if you have, there are companies, I do a lot of consulting. So sometimes a company may have someone already on board that handles their digital media, and I'll help them either with high-level strategy or true implementation, where we'll implement this. The key here is for SEO, you have to it's an ongoing thing, whether you do it or someone else does it. If you do it one time, that's great. But if somebody hires me and they're your competition, I'm going to outrank you, because my job is to continue to make sure that they're not being beat out by someone else. So it is an ongoing thing. It is a part of your marketing strategy. So, and here's something that a lot of these small businesses, you all need to understand. And I know we might have a lot of businesses here that are just starting out, or, big businesses have marketing budgets, and those marketing budgets allow them to continually do some form of marketing, whether it's digital marketing, whether it's traditional marketing, but that it's an ongoing thing, because if not, out of sight, out of mind. So you just have to determine what is important. How, word of mouth will get you so far, but we need new discovery. And new discovery is based on search engine optimization, some form of digital marketing. If the pandemic didn't teach us anything, it taught us one thing. And I think Marcus Lemonis of The Prophet, the TV show The Prophet, said it best. It took what people would have taken another 5 years to do. We had to do it in one year. That was called 2020. So if you're not online, you are invisible, and other people will win over, because I never bought more stuff in my life on Amazon until now, because I don't want to go to the store. I order food from, right now I'm about to take my daughter home, and because she's sitting over there patiently waiting for this to end. And on the way home, I'm just going to open up an app and order Panera and have it ready for me to just drive up, then walk out to my car and do it. If they didn't have it optimized, I couldn't do that. Then I would choose another company. So you need to understand that at some point you're going to have to make these type of investments. Now, you can do it yourself. It is a bit of work, but it is doable if you're small enough and you do want to save money,
All right, let's say without further ado, thank you so much, Jimmy, for taking the time to speak to our audience. We're gonna send out copies to everybody that's tuned in, along with the people that are not tuned in live, and hopefully we'll get your presentation sometime this week.
Yep, right? I'll get it to you guys tonight.
All right, awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Absolute pleasure, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night, everyone. We'll see you again soon.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Subscribe to the channel if you liked it. Bye.